Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.
And you're very welcome along to this week's Friday Night Racing. It's Ger Gilroy here with you, as we are every Friday afternoon across all of our social channels at 3 o'clock, broadcasting on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course on the Off The Ball website. offtheball.com is the best place to get us. And then of course we also broadcast later on the radio and News Talk from 8 every Friday evening. Friday Night Racing is brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. You can visit hri.ie, or you can follow the new Twitter account at HRI Racing to keep up to date. And the hashtag is every racing moment. Johnny Ward is with us. Johnny, how are you?
I'm very well, Ger. How are you keeping?
A big weekend. Plenty of big clashes all around the place.
Yeah, it feels like a proper kind of Saturday, the old Channel 4 racing where you're like in front of the TV for the day, and just really good clashes from Britain. And then traditionally the Irish meet on Sundays, particularly good, that Navan meeting with the Troy Town. Great days racing at Navan, and it's a cracking weekend of action. Obviously the highlight of Altior coming back and stepping up and trip against Surname is going to be an absolute cracker as well. So
for anybody who is familiar enough with the name Altior, a quick potted history. Altior is supposed to be unbeatable, right?
Yeah, well, he's never been beaten over fences, and this year, with him turning 10 years of age in 6 weeks' time, there he is, gorgeous son of High Chaparral. He is going to feature later on in our show in a kind of a pedigree type analysis with Kevin Doyle, but this is it's just going to be fascinating to see. He's stepping up to 2 miles, 5 furlongs and 8 yards. Be very British to put in the exact yardage, but Nicky Henderson has kind of been saying that he's not really working like he wants to step up and trip, and Altior has long developed this trait of being very strong at the end of his races. When he looks, even winning at Cheltenham, when he won the Arkle, even when he won the Champion Chase this season or this year, he looked a little bit under pressure jumping the last, but he always finds an extra gear, and that's something that most horses can't do at the end of top level combat. At the end of a race they can only give so much, but he finds more. That doesn't necessarily mean that he wants to step up in distance. It might be just a trait that he has, and he is getting older, but I wouldn't want to see him lose either. I think, an unbeaten record is great, though. You know, what has he had, like, is it 17 from 17 at this stage? 14 from 14 over fences, 5 from 5 over hurdles.
Why step up? What's the theory behind it?
Well, he could become a Gold Cup horse, and if you've the 2 mile division, basically, if you can continue to dominate that, why not try something new? If he wins the race on Saturday and he's very strong to finish, the logical thing is then we'll step him up another 3 furlongs to the King George and see where we're at. And then if he wins that, you can start thinking about the Gold Cup. I don't think this is a Gold Cup horse, being honest, but I think 2.5 will be within his compass. But what's really, really strange, you know, Altior, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best horses I've ever seen, full stop. He's actually not even top rated in this race. So Surname, by virtue of, you know, I suppose the length of his wins last season, winning at Ascot, when he beat Waiting Patiently and Fox Norton, he beat Waiting Patiently. He was a proper Grade 1 horse by 17 lengths that day. So that's why he's gotten a rating of 176. But, you know, there would be a lot of people who would sort of bemoan the fact that you could give a horse who's kind of almost arrived on the scene at this stage, that you could give him a rating higher than Altior, who's never lost. But ratings work in different ways. So
we don't know yet how good Surname can be. He just had an amazing season last year, and this is to see if there's any progression. Is that it?
Pretty much. When he won his handicap at Ascot, now, again, bolted up on that occasion. He was rated 150. Now, his performance back there then was probably at another level. But you're kind of just wondering, was he a little bit flattered? I'm not sure he was. He's by Nickname as well, who you remember was a very good horse. And the reason people will back Surname tomorrow, even though he's not quite favourite, they'll think that he's going to put an awful lot of pressure on Altior's stamina. And if Altior does have his stamina doubt, in theory, if he's rated higher than him, he's not going to beat him. I'm just not sure. I think Altior has a bit left in the locker yet.
OK, so if Surname wins, what's the trajectory after that?
If Altior is beaten tomorrow, you'd have to imagine, unless he falls, that's the end of his travails over further than 2 miles, because, you know, what's the point, really? But Surname himself is actually quite lightly raced in terms of the distance. He hasn't raced beyond 2.5. So if Paul Nicholls sees him destroy Altior and he's very strong at the finish, he's got to be thinking of stepping him up further in trip. With a rating of 176, he could already win a Gold Cup. And the Gold Cup isn't all about stamina. You do have to have a bit of class as well, and he definitely has a class. It's just, will he stay? And even though there are only 3 horses in this race, there may as well only be 2. It's an absolute... it's something really unique that you have a match race where they're so closely matched, and you have a horse who's unbeaten after so many runs, 19 runs fencing and hurdling. All
right, we're looking forward to that. We'll talk a bit more about some of the other racing on at the weekend, particularly the stuff that's on here in Ireland. But we want to get to talk about a half-brother to Altior, and that was a horse that was bought last week by Kevin Doyle, who joins us now. Kevin, good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Good, lads, and yourselves?
Yeah, I'd say John Magner is feeling a little bit of pressure there. There's a new guy in town.
Yeah, I wish. I was enjoying listening to you talk about Altior and Surname. That race, looking forward to seeing that one tomorrow.
Yeah. I was in the lift just coming up here, Kevin, and the guy in the lift with me, he said, "Do you do the racing show?" And I said, "We've actually Kevin Doyle on today." And he said, "Oh my God, I was at the sales the day that horse was being paraded, and obviously with him being by Camelot, it wasn't a surprise that he was quite a specimen for obviously a horse that's basically just out of the womb." But he said it was almost like a movie star. Everyone wanted to take a selfie with this horse, that he was that. And he said the horse was just like, he was like a fish. He was basically so laid back, and he just took it all in his stride. But he didn't have the money to buy him, I think. So you did.
Yeah, luckily enough. Thank soccer for that. Yeah, he was. They said he was flat out all day, that horse, for the 2 or 3 days he was up there. He was never in his box. He was being brought out and showed to everyone. It was. I felt sorry for him. He never got a minute's break. He came back here that night. Actually, we had him straight. He was back here nearly before I got back down from Tattersalls, and he was wrecked. And you see him in with the other foals. It's taken him a few days to catch up and put back on a few pounds that he lost, because he was non-stop walking. He's the only foal, actually, or they've only one mare, the people who breed him. He's the only foal, so he's like a pet. He's been, handled every day and treated so well, I suppose, in the 6 months or so he's been around, that he's brilliant. He really is a pet, a highly strung pet, but he settled in straight away, in fairness. So
you've had him a week now, a week and a half. Is that about right?
About right, yeah. They come straight down from once the hammer goes down, he's yours, and you get him back straight away, and he's in with the other foals. We sold 2 at the sales. I sold 1 and my father sold 1. We have 8 left there, that we're 2 going in a couple of weeks at Goffs, and he's in with the rest of them and treated the same as all the rest, no different. Fed the same, looked after the same. There's nothing you can do now. And look at him, go out in the free, letting him out this morning. They'd been in for a day or 2 because the weather is so bad. I was letting them out this morning, and they're fresh and they're galloping like mad, and you're seeing them as someone said to me before, every time horses are let out in the field, they try to commit suicide. They just go out and run around and go cracked for 10 minutes, and you just, we just calm down, lads. But that's the way it is. They're horses, and they do that, and he doesn't get treated. He won't get treated any differently than the other ones there.
There's something obviously very beautiful about lambs that have just born, and calves that have see grass for the first time. But what's it like, Kevin, with something as expensive as this horse? Because obviously he's still a little baby, and as you say, he's gone out in the field. But it's like, just bear in mind now, little man, you did cost 155 grand. Just look after yourself.
I know. Well, he's one I don't insure many of them, but he's insured, so I can relax a little bit easier that way. But it is, they're horses, and they go out and they run, and that's what they have to do. You can't baby him. It's lovely to watch them. He is just such a specimen, as he said there. To see him in the, you can easily pick out anyone who come and look, because it generates a bit of interest, and a few people have already wanted to come and see him, and you can pick him out. People who wouldn't have seen him in the stage ring or know what he looks like, you can pick him out pretty much straight away. He's a fabulous looking individual, and it's a joy to have him out walking him there this morning, walking the foals, the ones that are going for the sales, and brought him for a walk as well. And there's a spring to his step and a walk that anyone, you don't have to be any expert in horses or whatever to know when you're walking in. My wife was walking him there this morning, and she's getting into it a lot, and she could tell straight away. You can tell when there's a good one the way they walk. That doesn't mean he's going to be any good when he goes to a racetrack. You don't know how big his heart is or whatever, but I suppose the reason, the interest in him was, all you can tell is how they walk, how they move, how they're made, their body, and who they're by, and who they're, in this case, who their half-brother is why there was such interest in him.
Yeah, I think we're playing some B-roll footage of Camelot there in the background. And so obviously the breeding is incredibly good. And Kevin, that seems to be the thing that got you into this Can you maybe spool us back a bit? Because you mentioned your dad had some horses for sale there. So
yeah.
Was your dad always a breeder as well?
Yeah, since I was a kid. His father bred horses, back 100 or whatever, 80 years ago, whatever. He had horses up in the Dublin Horse Show. And my dad has bred horses for the last 30 years. All mainly national hunt, the odd flat one to begin with, but mainly national hunt. I'm trying to think. The one you'd probably know, Hollywell, was bred here, who was multiple winner at Cheltenham, probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I was favourite for the Gold Cup. I think he came second or third in it that year. And so I bred a few good ones, and I've got involved in England. Obviously, I wasn't here, but growing up, been around them, always had an interest. And once I had a few pound of my own, I bought a mare. My first horse at the Derby sale in 2007, maybe 8, a half-sister to cousin Vinny, who was a very good horse in his day. And I've bred from her since. I never put her in train or did anything. I bred from her. Her first horse, her first foal went on to be a winner, which a foal by presenting, a horse called Newsworthy, won 5 or 6 times. Went over to England with Nicky Henderson, won 5 or 6 times. And I've just gone from there. Got the bug. I kept it to one mare. In the last few years, I bought another couple. I bought Augusta Kate last year. It was a fantastic mare out of a fantastic mare, a Feathered Lady. I was delighted to get her. She was a Grade 1 winner out of a Grade 1 winner, which I, was speaking to my dad and different people, have never seen a Grade 1 for sale out of a Grade 1 winner before. She was in foal to Champs-Élysées. I was delighted to get her. She's a fantastic pedigree and was a lovely race mare herself. And she's had a lovely first foal by Champs-Élysées, which she'll be holding on to for a few years. And she's back in foal to Flemingsford, who's the top national hunt sire for the last good few years. So yeah, it all intrigues me. I love seeing him foal. We'll have 12 mares foal and 5 of my own, 7 of my father's, starting in the end of February. The first one's due, and be busy a few months them foaling and trying to get him back in foal, and it all intrigues me. That's my side of it. As I said before, I like racing, I like the odd bet, but it's this side of it that sort of excites me and enjoy, gets me up in the morning and gets me smiling.
I think that was actually footage of the foal we had.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think if we could see that footage again, he just looks like, I don't know, like, again, I'm pretty useless in confirmation all this, but he looks like a bit of a rock star. He just has a kind of a beautiful movement to him.
That's what my wife said this morning. He looks like he's a dressage horse. He comes out and goes up on his toes out in the paddock and just floats around the place. I'm the same. You just have to listen. I'm no expert. I'm learning all the time. But obviously, I did my homework on him. And Peter Nolan, I was a consigner who gets our horses ready for the sales. He's he's an expert on it and well known. Got Peter to have a look at him. And everyone who was there, said there's nothing you can't like about this fella. He's, without having Altior as his half brother, that side obviously is brilliant, but just himself as an animal is a fantastic individual. That doesn't mean he'll grow to be a 3-year-old and be fantastic. There's so many things can go right and wrong in the next few years, but I suppose to start with, he's top class as it is now, and it's like anything in horses. There's no guarantees at all. There's nothing to say he'll make what I paid for him in 3 years, whatever. He might make double, he mightn't make what I paid for him, but that's the game, and that's the exciting part of it as well.
What's interesting for me is, what do you have in mind for this horse to be? Because he's obviously a slightly mixed pedigree in that.
He is, yeah.
People don't generally pay good money for Camelot horses to go jumping necessarily from scratch. So you're like, where's he going to be? Could he be a Melbourne Cup winner, or could he be a Galway mile winner? Could he do it? What'll he do?
Yeah, if you listen to Nicky Henderson, he's saying Altior could win over a mile. He was saying, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see. He's going to be going back to the Derby sale in 2 years' time. That would be the plan. Best laid plans. I could end up. Something might be wrong and I might be able to sell him. I could be sending him over to Liz Doyle, who's just over the road for me to train in 2 years' time. Who knows? You can't know for certain. But outline plan would be for me to go back to the Derby sale or the Land Rover sale or whatever when the time comes in 2.5 years' time. I wouldn't. The plan here for me is most of my foals will be to sell them on and move them on. It's a business breeding foals and sell them on. It's not to put them in training. I've had a couple in training more because, the only reason was because when it came to sales time, there was something wrong with them and they couldn't go to sales, so I've ended up putting them in training. But
where's your upside here then? Because we'd say if you're spending 155 grand, you're going to have to sell them as a store horse. So store horses, max you're talking maybe 400 grand for an average store, for an unbelievably good store. So what do you think? Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But,
Well, listen. If he stays the way he is, it stays perfect. Camelot is a flat sire, but like every flat sire there is, or every national hunt sire here in Ireland, basically was a flat sire and didn't prove popular enough, so got put down to national hunt. So it's just he's only a flat sire because he's really good and really popular and gets fantastic looking horses. And Coolmore have him at 40 grand, I think, this year for a cover. So all their national hunt sires that we go to every year were all flat sires and just got, I suppose, relegated down to the national hunt sire side of it. So that him being a flat sire wouldn't bother me. He was a Derby winner, which most of the good national hunt sires were.
He effectively won the Ledger as well, so it's like
he both sides of it. Yeah, so he's a fantastic. That side of him being a flat sire doesn't bother me at all. That's actually when I was going through the book, when you get the catalogue. Before I saw it was Altior's half brother. The first thing I saw, I was going through the sires, was Camelot. I was like, what's Camelot doing with a foal in this sale? He's obviously the only one in it. So that's where I saw this one 2 months ago. First of all, before.
You're left-handed as well, Kevin.
So I am a lefty, yeah.
You're left foot. We have
photograph you signed.
Exclusive footage of you writing on a sheet of paper, which is.
Signing.
We had to go all out for that. You're left-handed but right-footed.
Yeah, well, I have scored a few with my left foot as well. I didn't not boasting. It just didn't really.
Didn't have a bad left foot.
I swung at it.
Yeah.
I got two. No, I am boasting. I got 2 Ireland international goals of the year, and both of them were with my left foot. So, it's an interesting one.
It's good you remember that.
But back to the horses anyway.
Is this lad more a Troy Parrott or an Adam Ida now, I suppose?
I don't know. I won't be the one to find out. I hope someone else will be the one to pay.
JP could buy him, maybe. JP
you never know who will buy him. Yeah, it won't be Michael O'Leary now, I suppose. Anyway,
yeah.
So. But yeah, listen, it's not just him from the family. He's Monte Solaro is the name of the mare. She's bred 2 or 3 other winners as well. I think there's 4 winners she's bred, which is fantastic from a mare, and she has a Milan. Milan over sold last year for 365 grand. It was with Nicky Henderson as well, so he should be out. He got bad colic, so it's delaying him 6 months seemingly. But should be out on the racetrack. It'd be interesting to see how he goes. He'll be out probably. End of this season, I would say. He was put back 6 months, said, with colic. So yeah, listen, there's plenty more to come from us, not just this fella.
All right, we're talking with Kevin Doyle on Friday Night Racing. Kevin, I wanted to ask you said you got the catalogue 2 months out. Did you decide that you were going there that day and nothing but coming home with that horse was going to be success?
Yeah. No, not at all. You just don't know how many people are interested. I had my figure set, and that was going to be my last bid for him. I saw the catalogue. I said to myself, I'll have a look at him when the time comes. Peter Nolan, I said, who's the consigner who gets, lots and lots of horses ready for sale up there. I told him to have a look at him when he's up there, and he gave me phone calls, just to say, listen, there's nothing not to like about him. So I said I'd go up, have a look myself. My horse was for sale 10 lots before him, and my father's lot was for sale 5 or 6 lots before him. So we were busy trying to get them through the ring, and then, I said I'd have a quick go and see, and that's basically it is the same as everyone else. There was a good few people in for him, and so that was the top end for me. I was finished there, and thankfully no one else wanted to go past.
That's the thing as well. You can be the margin between not getting a horse and and it's kind of like I've spoken to people who are trying to buy a house, and they might think it's good value, but they might be humming and hawing over 5 grand here or there, and it's kind of, it must be very tough, Kevin, in that, listen, this is my budget. I know it's only 5 grand on top of 155, but you can't just keep up in your bid either.
No, it has to stop somewhere. And like as you said, it's a national hunt foal. That's the top end for a national foal. You just listen. It's a risky business, and but I really wanted to have him. If you're going to buy a foal, and maybe pinhook a horse or whatever, try buy the best you can. And this is if you're going to buy one, buy Altior's half brother, buy Camelot, I think. And I'd spend a lot of money. Still, I think he's worth it.
The bit where you've had a couple of horses who you've put in training because they weren't ready to go to the sales.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with them? I mean, is there a possibility that you become enamoured by something like this? And you're like, I'm going to put them in training. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, listen, wouldn't you love to? God, you'd just love to put him in training and see him go.
Come on, Kevin, you have the money, like, you don't mind selling them.
Yeah. Jeez, I won't have it too long if I keep buying foals like this. I'm sure Liz Doyle, who I had a horse to train with, would love to see him coming over to the yard as well.
We have Liz on the line here, actually. Yeah, Liz on the line there.
But no, like, of course you would. But if you start going down that road, you end up, bankrupt. The idea, my wife was in tears when the foals were going for sale last week, and sure she'll be in tears when this fella's going for sale. But that's the business. You can't get too attached to them. You're attached to them while they're here. But listen, if I start putting horses in training, the odd one will happen because of reasons. When they come to sales, they can't be sold. But that isn't ideal. It costs too much to find out whether they're good or not, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
So that's your business, and what you've decided to do is to get involved in the analysis before the actual auction, and then the pin hooking as well, because it's the bit beforehand. You can be a great pin hooker and you can get them already, but the bit beforehand is the bit where you basically earn your money, because they're either going to be successful or not.
Yeah, there's no guarantees on anything. It's as I said, I don't pin hook. My dad has done a few, and I haven't done one before. This is my first one. I like to see foals. I like going to stallions. I like picking stallions. I like that side of it. I really enjoy the thought process that goes into it, and the chatting. We're already thinking about where we're going to go in March, April, May, and discussing it, and seeing the new stallions that have been brought in. Crystal Ocean, Coolmore have brought in Crystal Ocean to Stand National, different things like that, and it's that's the side that intrigues me. And what'll suit a mare, big mare, small stallion, vice versa, where do you go with them and what do you risk it with? And that side of it is really interesting. That is a lot of work trying to get them back and forth, a lot of work here when they're foaling. It's a nervous time of the year, so much to go wrong just when they're foaling. So, and again, for me, it's a part-time thing. It's not full-time. I have other stuff going on all the time, and I don't want to get it. I suppose it's a full-time, part-time job. And it really, I have a bug for it, so it puts a smile on my face. It's a hobby, which is a joy. It's not like work for me, but it can take up a lot of your time at certain times of the year, especially when they're foaling and getting back in foal. But I enjoy it, and hopefully try and make some money out of it as well. Not easy to do, but that's the plan.
I thought it was interesting you said that you insured the foal, because I suppose most horses that I've been involved with weren't really worth insuring because of the likelihood of them getting injured, and invariably they will get injured. But what was that? Was that a difficult call? I'm asking this now as the man on the street, in that what's the cost versus the negative versus the pro for this? Because obviously you don't want this horse to suffer a fatal injury and all of a sudden all your money is gone, notwithstanding the fact that you get attached to the horse.
Exactly, yeah. In this case, I think you have to insure him. I bought Augusta Kate last year and I insured her for the first year till she had her first foal. She had a filly foal, so her filly foal is now my insurance. The pedigree continues down the line with the filly foal if anything goes wrong with Augusta Kate.
And who's the foal by there?
Champs-Élysées.
Right.
So he's at Champs-Élysées, passed away last year as well. So there's so much go wrong with horses, but I don't insure any of the foals. I don't insure 99% of them. This one it costs a lot of money, and I'll insure him for the 2.5 years that we have him here. It'll be worth insuring him. The risk of anything going wrong is too great after spending a big sum on him. It'll be worth insuring him for the 2 years.
Is insurance expensive? Because we were talking last week.
I have no idea.
I'll tell you
exactly.
It's about €4,000 to insure him for anything, basically, whatever happens to him. Yeah.
I thought it'd be a lot more than that now.
It's money well spent.
It's not. He's not in training, so. I mean, in fairness, he's probably. I presume, if you're training,
I think you're bringing this up a little bit because you had bad experience just recently with a horse that you'd invested a fair bit of time and money into, and that clearly wasn't insured. So, how much would it have cost you to insure one of your national hunt horses?
So, that horse was bought for 4,000 sterling, because at the time he was 10 years of age and he was quite a low-grade horse. So in effect, he's not really worth anything, because his training fees are so much that it's kind of like buying a crap car that, it's not so much the cost of the car, it's how much the tax and the insurance is on it, you know what I mean? So it's the actual cost of the upkeep. The horse I was involved with, it was very frustrating, because last year, in probably the first time ever in the history of mankind, it wasn't a wet winter in Ireland. It was very, very dry, and he didn't get his ground. He was reliant on winter ground. he then finally gets his ground this year, and the night before it rains too much and the meeting is called off, and he's hot favourite for the race. And then the following morning after the meeting is called off, he cracks his pelvis. So you're just like, well, but he wouldn't have been worth insuring, I presume, because, but $4,000 to insure Kevin Singh, what's $4,000 on top of 155?
Yeah.
You know, that would be my attitude anyway. Yeah,
exactly. That is it's definitely worth insuring them. You know, covers all risks. So it's no-brainer really to insure them, I think. You know, it's a simple process.
Interesting you mentioned your wife as well, because I presume she's not a horse racing background, and
no.
It sounds like she's kind of getting the bug as well.
Yeah, she is. She loved when she was younger. She went horse riding and did things like that, and she was big into them. But she wouldn't have gone near a horse for 20. You know, since she was 14 or 15. So we're back this year. I said, you know what, we're going to be getting the foals walking, getting them. You know, you can barely touch a foal unless they've been handled and got going. And so we got her involved. We'd 9 or 10 foals to get head collars on, get walking, get going, getting ready for the sales. So we got her involved with that, and she was brilliant. I think they enjoyed having a female voice around the place, someone with a bit more love and care, and don't just see them as another animal to be got out and got to the sales. She said she was tears in her eyes when a couple of them were going there last week. So no, listen, it's nice to have someone. It's nice to have my wife interested, first of all, and to see her take a real keen interest and to take a keen interest on the breeding side of it, and to be calling all the foals by their sire's name. She knows already, who's who and who's by who and all that. So she's gotten on very quickly, and it's a good help. You know, you need plenty of hands on deck when you're trying to walk and get 9 or 10 foals ready, and it's great to have her involved.
When you were playing, you obviously always had this in the back of your head that this was going to be something that you were going to spend a bit of your time post-retirement in. Was there other stuff that you had your eye on getting involved in while you were still playing?
Yeah, listen, you always try the coaching side. I did a bit of coaching with Ireland under-17s last year. It was fine. I enjoyed it. And, I do the punditry side of it with RTE and a few different things. But this is, I suppose, what, talking to you about this gives me a lot, probably more enjoyment than talking about...
Let's talk about the Ireland international team, though.
Yeah. So, this is, that's more work side of it, and this is enjoyable. And, so this is...
You can't show them up, Ger. You cannot show them up.
Yeah, so I've been lucky since I came home. Retiring from football is a big thing in your life. Retiring from a sports person, retiring, I suppose. You see all the talk about depression and players really struggling, and I've been so lucky to come home, and I'm not in England in a house sitting there twiddling my thumbs wondering what I'm going to do with my life now. I'm finished soccer, I've come home, and I'm out mucking out stables or out this morning walking horse in the rain or whatever, and it just I suppose it's made my transition a lot easier from full-time training. All
seriousness though, what do you think of the international football team, and what did you make of the game on Monday night, and I suppose what do you make for our prospects of qualifying?
Listen, I just saw the draw before I got on to you. I think we're away again if we get to the final. So it's going to be tough. Slovakia away, and then Northern Ireland or was it Northern Ireland or Bosnia away. So not easy. That I think. I can't see us qualifying if I'm being truthful. I was at the game the other night. Enjoyable last half hour. First half was so. We were better. We tried to play. Listen, we did. We tried to play an okay game, and we weren't fantastic. But it was just because we tried to play and play out and play a bit more passing. It was such a surprise. I think that everyone was really, delighted by it when we were doing basic things and doing them quite well. And we really put in a good effort. Probably should have scored. Probably should have won the game. We were a better team. Denmark were very poor.
That's the thing, though. They were very poor, weren't they? I mean, there was no real press from them. They knew they could get a draw. Ericsson looks like he's not at the race at all to me. And so, I think, is this the thing? Are we reading too much? Like, I was quite positive about it, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge Denmark were crap.
Yeah, they were, and they lost 2 players early on. Their main two, Delaney was a big loss to them in midfield. So they did not try get out of their own half in the first half. Denmark didn't really care. Listen, they did a draw and they were through and they were happy with that. It was a dangerous game for them to play, but they obviously felt, listen, we scored so few goals. They obviously felt we can get away with this. I would have liked us to go for it earlier. Go for it from the start. We had to win. We were always in the playoff anyway, so go for it from the beginning. Play Seanie Maguire. I thought he was very good when he came on. He was lively. Just looked like he was dangerous. He was out wide a lot of the time when he came on. Dave McGoldrick ended up out on the wing for the last 20 minutes a lot of the time. You know, we were doing a lot of stuff out wide, out in the wing and looking dangerous, but we didn't really actually have anyone in the box.
But that's what depresses me, though, Kevin, that like McGoldrick gets an awful lot of credit, which I think is warranted. But he's actually in the midst of almost no chances for Ireland, and he scored 1 goal, and we're kind of we're heralding him as, and I'm not knocking him, but like,
I think if you had him alongside somebody, that's the thing.
That's it. Yeah, Seanie Maguire came on out wide. He didn't really come on as a centre forward, did he? Yeah, I don't know. I thought we could have just gone for it a bit more, or gone from it from the start.
What about the 21s?
Yeah, Jesus, I only saw the highlights of the goals, and I didn't see the full game. But they've been excellent. All our underage teams have, but you know, it'll be interesting to see Stephen now step up from that, and will the pressure, I suppose, and the scrutiny of the senior job affect him and affect his mindset to how his teams play? And will he become more cautious, or will he take that, you know, I hope he takes that development and that, you know, style of football with him to the senior job and brings through some of those players? Because it's exciting. I know everyone says it's all about getting results. It is all about getting results, but it's not all about getting results in Georgia and not being able to pass the ball 5 yards and just having to switch the TV off. It's about getting results in place and playing a reasonably okay game of football. You can't get away with. We got away with that result in Georgia, and we should have been beaten. Jeez, if Georgia had anything about them in the final third, they would have beat us handy. So it's about, you know, just a nice enough style. We don't have to be like Brazil, but just, you know. It's easy for me to say now I'm sitting up in the stand. I know you were saying this about me when I was on the pitch. I'm sure we didn't play anything fantastic either. I'm well aware of that. But it's when I'm on the other side now and watching it and you're looking at some of it, you're just like, come on, lads, just put in a better performance. They're good players. Playing in England, we say we don't have many Premier League players. We have more Premier League players this year, I think, than we have in a long time. And are well able to play fantastic football for their clubs. It's just whatever happens at transition to international football, we haven't been able to. The last couple of years, it's been worse than ever, I think.
Is there any possibility that, or any fears about Kenny being accepted by the group of players? Like,
no, I don't think. I don't know. The group of players now are a lot of young players, a lot of players who we would have dealt with as well, would know him, would be well aware of him. I don't think there's any really old senior players who've only played in the Premier League and don't have any interest in Irish football. I think all the lads there will have respect for what Stephen's done. Will have all been aware of it at Dundalk, and a lot of players will, you know, there's a good few ex-League of Ireland players there will be well aware of him. The lads coming through from the under 21s who will have managed, so I don't think that would be an issue at all.
Have you any interest yourself? I mean, you talk about the under 17s. Any interest in getting involved in the league here? Something that you could do from home as opposed to heading off?
I don't know. I did the under 17s, and it's fine. It's a tough job, and I moved about. You know, constantly on the move all your life as a footballer, or potentially on the move, and moving to America. And my kids are young and settled and enjoying school. And the life of a manager, look at Jose Mourinho now. He's out of a job 6 months and he looks 10 years younger already. He won't look like that in a few months' time. A manager's job is brutal, and it's a special person. Like Jose Mourinho living in Manchester in a hotel for a couple of years, his family living down in London. I would not want that for my life. A manager is 3 losses away from being sacked at all times. I just don't think it's a healthy way of living. The paycheck is healthy, but it's not good for your all-round life, family life, your kids, and that side of it really puts me off. I'm enjoying being home in Wexford, and it, you know, I obviously could manage in the League of Ireland, I suppose, if I wanted it, but it takes a lot of work. You know, I just don't go from here now to be managing a team. There's a lot of work to get your badges and to go down that side of it. And while I'm, you know, a lot of time and effort, and while I'm concentrating on horses and putting my time and effort into them, you can't sort of, you know, pull yourself in all different directions, I think.
It's a much nicer lifestyle.
Busy enough as it is.
The lifestyle you have now, like hanging out with the horses, taking them out for the walk in the morning.
Has its stresses as well, but definitely. Listen, I think it's healthier for your mind anyway. I don't think they'll make me look like Jose Mourinho in the way he looked when he was finishing up at Man United. Wait, all managers. Mick McCarthy, like when he finishes out a job and he's off for a few months, he comes back tanned and looking $1 million, and then he's same as every manager a few months in, and they get cranky, and their interviews with the press and everything become so strained and difficult, and it's a tough, pressurised job, 24/7 job, trying to deal with footballers every day, like a disaster. Listen, my mind might change in a couple of years once I've been out of soccer and
once the Camelot sells for 50 grand.
I know, Once I'm broke. So, no, listen. But right now, the way I'm thinking, it's, you know, I'm enjoying a bit with RT, I'm enjoying with the horses, and I'm enjoying doing my bits outside of day-to-day involvement with football.
You don't get to name the horse. Is that when?
No.
When does that happen?
No, he gets named by if you had a filly and you were going to breed from her, once she's going to be a mare, you name her officially, or when you're going in training. So whoever buys it will name it. At the moment, he's just
horse.
Mini Altior out in the field, or Mini Camelot, we call him. So no names on him. And someone else hopefully to do that.
Right. Well, listen, best of luck with it. I hope it has an amazing name and goes off and wins loads, and you can continue living off the back of that. Kevin, great to have you with us. Thanks a million.
Cheers, it's good
Thanks,
talking
Kevin.
to you. Thanks a lot.
It's Kevin Doyle there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll preview the rest of the weekend's racing right after this.
Friday Night Racing.
On Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie. Friday Night Racing.
On Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie.
Yeah, you're very welcome back to Friday Night Racing, or Friday afternoon racing, indeed, as it would be if you are consuming this. Across all of our social channels, we go live every Friday afternoon around about 3 o'clock, brought to you in association with Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit hri.ie or follow the new Twitter account at HRI Racing. Let's take a look at the weekend's racing, and I've got some more bad news for you out there. Here's the script. It says, the tote. We should just get some, like, the last rites. What's the music? The lone piper that they play?
It's a parting glass or something. Or?
Well, the parting glass would be, you know, that's, I love the
Of all the money that I spent is a good start.
Well, I mean, I spent it in good company would be inaccurate, right? In this case.
Let's just keep it to of all the money I spent.
The tote Irish Interjockeys.
And all the harm that was done and lasted was to none but me and all the people that we gave the tips to.
Yeah. Remains static on 7,549. That's what it says, static. After Ishka Baha was another losing Johnny Ward selection last weekend at Cork.
I don't like the tone of this conversation.
We just read the script. The script appears on my screen.
Ishka Baha was disappointed. I do like the way we've found various ways of saying static. So we could say like static or stuck or dead or like, you know, stalled at. So if you have any suggestions on other ways to describe our non-moving betting fund,
this is just your tips here. The rest of your tipping life, I presume, is
thriving.
Super Storeway success.
Absolutely.
No.
no, my tips are going fine.
We were going to get engaged a couple of weeks ago to break your snap, apparently.
What? Oh, yeah, because David Jennings is thriving since he got married. Yeah, maybe. I'm getting engaged to you because I want to arrest my betting slide.
Look, it's going to be good for both of us.
Yeah.
That's romantic, right?
Yeah, shout out to her mother, Liz, who's having her 69th birthday tonight. So we're having a little meal, and we won't be talking about gambling.
Very good. Nice. This weekend, we'll see the Irish action coming from Gorham Park tomorrow in Navan on Sunday, where the highlight is the ultra-competitive Troytown Chase. Across Channel, obviously, the mouth-watering clash between Altior and Surname in the Christie 1965 Chase from Ascot tomorrow. What have you gone for this week?
What have I gone for this week? I'm going to go safe enough. I think this is quite safe. I tipped this horse in another platform when it last ran, and it was done on the line at like 14, 16 to 1. The only kind of concern I would have in the race is that JP McManus has another runner in it that could be quite well handicapped. Liz Doyle was mentioned by Kevin, and Liz Doyle trains this horse Encore Louis, which runs in the 1:30 at Navan Sunday. And I think it got £3 for finishing second the last day. I thought that was quite lenient. But Spruced Up, which is JP's one of 3 horses he has in the race. Spruced Up is a sister to Dressed to the Nines. So there's obviously some sort of play going on in the naming there. But Dressed to the Nines was very good. And this filly will be better than this mark, I think, as well. I'm just not sure if Sunday will be the day for her.
So what race is that?
The 1:30 Sunday at Navan.
The 1:30 Sunday at Navan.
Encore Louis. It's very, very solid. I can't put seed being thereabouts.
And what kind of odds do you think?
Maybe 2 to 1, 6 to 4, 7 to 4, 2 to 1, something like that.
All we need is a bit of profit to get us back in the game.
We just want a winner at this stage, you know.
Yeah.
Just want a crumb. We're starved.
Right. We should talk about some of the other races this weekend.
Yeah, the Troytown.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Obviously sponsored by Ladbrokes. This is a really, really good old-fashioned staying chase handicap, and 23 go to post. Gordon Elliott has an awful lot of runners in it, and Gigginstown and JP McManus are quite strongly represented. I'll be honest, I haven't really had time to go through it at full kind of length, but Discoram at the top weight, he had a great season last season. He actually could be good enough to give them weight and a beating. I like the way he's campaigned to put him into a race of this nature on his seasonal debut, despite the fact he has to give weight away. Ravenhill for Gordon Elliott, certainly interesting. Portmore Lock looks intriguing down the bottom of the weights, because he stayed very well the last year. That was a question mark, but he only got going late on, and I think he'll run very well for the wily old John Kiley.
Okay, so it's a great race.
It's a cracking handicap, and 23 of them, most of them in with some sort of a chance. I mean, none of them are an absolutely huge price. Even Chris's Dream in it for Henry de Bromwich, very good novice last season before things went a bit awry for him, but lots of horses with different sorts of profiles and stuff as well.
Okay, before that, at 1 o'clock, the Monksfield Novice Hurdle, Abacadabas, Fury Road, Doyen Dancer, Glamorgan Duke, Six Shooter and Caddyshack. We'd heard a lot about Fury Road. Yeah, we heard a lot about Abacadabras as well, because he was one of the... I think he was one of maybe the horses that Tom mentioned when we had the two Kennedy brothers in, and he ended up bolting up that weekend in very good fashion at Navan. I think over 2-4. I just have a feeling that Fury Road just might have a little bit too much from over the 2-4. Abacadabras looks quite a speedy horse. It'll be intriguing. They're two stablemates. Obviously, Davy Russell is now back in the vogue with the Jigginstown boys. He's riding, to my mind, Fury Road could well be favourite here. He's getting £6, and I think he's a great chance. Okay, so he's on that. Robbie Power's on Abacadabas. Yes, Robbie Power is like... I mean, Robbie Power is a great example of, like, he was a jockey that kind of, I wouldn't necessarily call him a journeyman. He was riding sort of very good horses, but he wouldn't have maybe been considered in the top bracket, but he's a very good professional. He was riding for Jessica Harrington, then he started riding these very good horses in Britain. His relationship with Colin Tizard now, the attitude he showed going over to Colin Tizard, he's riding these really good horses for Colin Tizard. Not only that now, he's riding top horses for Jigginstown as well, so great example of just stay professional and do your job. Okay, one last race you want to talk about this weekend? Yeah, that was the Fillies bumper, the Mayor's bumper, sponsored by Coolmore National Hunt Sires, which is appropriate enough considering Camelot, even though he's not a National Hunt Sire, he obviously is a Coolmore, was the sire of the horse that was the star attraction today. And I do like the Getaway star here by Getaway, one of the top young National Hunt stallions. This looks a very good mare in the making. Okay, so the Getaway star on Sunday at 3:30 in Navan. Proper card in Navan if you're doing nothing on Sunday, and Goran on Saturday. All right, Johnny, good stuff. Enjoy the racing this weekend, and indeed if you are going racing this weekend, then do check out all of the available resources to you. Hashtag every racing moment, HRI.ie, or the Twitter handle at HRI Racing. I would say as well, if you were, you know, it's funny that Kevin was talking about his wife there, how she just, like, she's no background, but once you're around horses, you sort of fall in love with them. Racing's a little bit different. I think people just don't get it, or some people just have no interest in it. But if you do have time tomorrow, watch Altior versus Surname. It's at 2:05. It's effectively a match race. There'll be huge excitement in the Ascot crowds over it. There'll be huge excitement on screen. There's a horse with an unbeaten record, trying to preserve that, stepping up and trip against kind of an up-and-comer, and it's going to be an absolutely amazing spectacle of steeplechasing at its best. So if you're doing nothing at 2:05 on Saturday, this might make you fall in love with racing. All right, Friday Night Racing Off the Ball, brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit HRI.ie. We'll see you next week.
Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Horse Racing Ireland. Love every racing moment. Visit HRI.ie.